So congratulations, you have just finished the marathon, the 4-hour cinematic event known as Zack Snyder's Justice League on HBO Max. Now you're probably wondering what's next. What recommendations, what things should I watch to keep the Justice League fix going? Stay tuned. I got some recommendations that you will not want to miss. All right, welcome back everybody to the channel. I'm pretty sure that you, one way, shape, or another, have just gotten through Zack Snyder's 4-hour-long epic known as the Justice League. It's double in size. There's a lot of content. There's a lot of characters and things that were added to that film, but it's kind of bittersweet because it's really the end of an era when it comes to DC cinematic films. Obviously, they are not continuing with Zack Snyder's vision. This was just a nice way for him to take care of some unfinished business before the DC film universe respectively moves on in a new creative direction. But with that in mind, a lot of people are wondering, what do I watch next? What should I check out just to enjoy the DC universe, to enjoy the Justice League, and maybe get an idea of coming attractions that are going to be happening in the DC universe. So with that in mind, I wanted to provide a couple recommendations, some that you could easily find on HBO Max right now. First one that I enjoy the most, a good chunk of these, FYI, are going to be animated recommendations, because the one thing that DC has been able to do in leaps and bounds and beat Marvel for almost a few decades in is their cartoons, whether they're in television format or cinematic animated feature films that they put directly on DVD, which a majority now can be found on HBO Max. So you're already there. Most of you already have some of these. These are just some recommendations that I personally watch either once a year or ever so often when I want to get my Justice League fix fulfilled. So the first one that comes to mind is Justice League: The New Frontier. This was a movie that came out in 2008 and is based on the graphic novel of the same name created by Darwin Cook. He wrote it, he drew it, and he even helped produce this feature film. It's a great movie. It has a stellar voice cast in it. I'm going to go through that right now. One of the main characters right out of the gate is Angel and Bones alumni David Boreanaz. He voices Hal Jordan, who ultimately becomes the Green Lantern in this film. Neil Patrick Harris of How I Met Your Mother fame voices Barry Allen and The Flash. You have Xena alumni Lucy Lawless voicing Wonder Woman in this, and Superman is voiced by Kyle MacLachlan of Twin Peaks and Dune fame. If you're a Portlandia fan, he's also the voice, or not the voice, he's the actor that is the mayor of Portlandia. So the other movie I would recommend, if you're looking for an interesting take on Batman, kind of getting an idea of potentially where they might borrow some material from, where they have borrowed material from, especially in the Christopher Nolan films, and the Batman film coming up by Matt Reeves, starring Robert Pattinson, would be Batman Year One. This movie is great. I mean, it's one of those ones that I enjoy. It's based on the graphic novel or Batman run by Frank Miller. He's of Sin City fame. Funny enough, Frank will be coming on the list as another recommended movie. But if you really enjoy Breaking Bad, if you really enjoy the show Gotham, then this is going to be a must-watch movie for you. This has Bryan Cranston as the main protagonist in this movie. He voices Commissioner Gordon, who's just Jim Gordon at the time. You see him coming into Gotham City and coming into a corrupt police force. You see the evolution of Batman literally year one into his existence. He kind of is goofing and stumbling along the way, but you see that these two parallel paths between Gordon and Batman cross each other to form a friendship that is going to be integral for the future of Gotham City moving forward. You also have Elijah Dushku of Buffy alumni fame. She voices Selena, aka Catwoman, in this movie. So there's an interesting voice cast. There's even Katie Sackhoff. She has a small little bit role as Detective Ensign in this. You might remember her from Starbuck from Battlestar Galactica, or if you're a Longmire fan, she was the deputy in that. So this is another one I'd highly recommend. One of my favorites, though, that I watch every year almost to the date is Batman The Dark Knight Returns. It's based on the graphic content done by Frank Miller. This was a different take on Batman. In the 1980s, obviously Frank Miller was getting tired of writing characters that were staying the same age as he was getting older. So he decided to flip script and make a movie that was based on a Batman that comes out of retirement, kind of like that gunslinger who hangs up the holster and gives it up, but something draws them back. So they have to put on the belt once again and be that hero. And I enjoy this a lot. It was a lot of inspiration for Tim Burton to make a darker, edgier Batman. It gave some gravitas to the character of Batman being the Dark Knight. He was starting to get a little lackadaisical and a little goofy, at least in the public eye, because most people before the 1980 Batman came out just had it synonymous with Adam West, with the pow, the zop, the bam, all that crazy nonsense that kind of happened with the TV show. So they were trying to course correct, and Frank Miller just doubled down on it, gave you a gritty, hard Batman that kind of bent his own rules a little bit just to pursue that justice. So you have Peter Weller. If that name doesn't ring a bell, RoboCop, Buckaroo Banzai. He provides the aging Bruce Wayne and Batman in this movie. Ariel Winter from Modern Family voices Carrie Kelly, a young female spunky kind of Robin that helps Bruce get out of his funk a little bit and is learning the tricks of the trade from an older Bruce Wayne. So that's kind of neat. You have Michael Emerson. If you ever watched Lost, he played a major kind of antagonist in that series, and he is stellar as the voice of the Joker in this because he kind of plays this comatose character that comes out, and his first laser sight focus is on Batman. So ultimately, this was 2 movies. You can find it on HBO Max that kind of did this deluxe edition, or they kind of re-edited it. So if you enjoy the Snyder Cut and you want a longer animated film, I highly recommend Batman The Dark Knight Returns. Now, moving into the future, obviously we know with the events of Justice League, The Flash is going to get his own film. And a lot of people in the Warner Brothers camp have already announced the inspiration of that Flash film is going to be a Flash storyline that happened in the early aughts called Flashpoint. It was pretty much the reset button at the DC universe. There were just too many storylines that were problematic, and they wanted to create an easy launching point narrative in the early thousands. So they used this Flashpoint event, kind of Barry playing around with the time line and manipulating it into his favor, creating this paradox that's problematic. And he has to undo this so he can go back to the timeline that he already originally had. So I think they're going to draw a lot of inspiration from this movie, not probably literally verbatim. In this movie, you have Barry Allen portrayed by Justin Chambers. He is from Grey's Anatomy alumni. So is Kevin McKidd, who plays Thomas Wayne. In this weird parallel universe, Bruce and Martha are killed and Thomas Wayne still survives. So it becomes a dark, edgier Batman that's not afraid to use guns and violence to get the job done. Michael B. Jordan, obviously of Creed fame, and the Black Panther voices Cyborg in this movie. And you have Kevin Conroy kind of passing on the torch to at least the cinematic universe in this as Batman. So it's a lot of fun. You can see that they're going to draw little bits and pieces moving forward into Flashpoint. And I would say that this will just give you an idea of what's coming down the road. Now, if you want a different take on Teen Titans, you want to see sidekicks transitioning into their adulthood, I would highly recommend Young Justice. This is on HBO Max as well. It like literally the tagline, teenage heroes strive to prove themselves as members of the Justice League. So a lot of these heroes are trying to come out of the shadow of being a sidekick and either forging their own path and doing it in their own means and methods and how they see fit. Some of them step up to the bar. become members of the Justice League. Some of them kind of set out on their own path, get into some dark spots, and either become villains or heroes. So it's this neat kind of dynamic. The animation's exceptional. You have great voice acting in this series. Jesse McCarthy, Nolan North, Danica McKellar, if that name rings a bell. She was the main female interest in the Wonder Years. So that's kind of funny. You have Crispin Freeman, you have Troy Baker, who is known as Obi-Wan Kenobi in the Clone Wars, voicing some parts in here. But I enjoyed this. This was something different because it's not really drawn too deep on source material, whether it's the Justice League or Teen Titans. So in a lot of ways, it's its own thing. It has a neat, unique storyline. I enjoy, like, they had their own alien invasion arc. They introduced the Blue Beetle, or at least the newer version of the Blue Beetle, the Jaime Reyes character. So that might be another form of coming attractions, because there are rumors that the Blue Beetle might be getting a movie. So, these are just some of my ideas that if you're looking for things that are related to Justice League and you want to continue having these fun adventures, you don't need to look any further than mostly on HBO Max. These are great movies, especially Young Justice. I think it's over like 60 some odd episodes. So that'll last you probably over the 4-hour mark, even if you're blazing a trail through them. So, like I said before, I'm not the biggest DC fan, but this is stuff within the DC wheelhouse that I enjoy. So check it out. Let me know what you think. What are some other recommendations that you have for people that just finished the Snyder Cut as a DC fan that you would highly recommend that they should put on their must-see list? Put that in the comments below. As always, if you enjoy these videos, please share, like, and subscribe. I follow many different fandoms, whether it's professional wrestling or hockey or just pop culture in general. So I'm just trying to keep fun discussions going. So I hope you're having a great time. I hope you enjoyed the Snyder Cut and you get a chance to check some of these out. So as always, I'll catch you on the next video and have a good one.